Meal prepping in pregnancy is something extra special, especially when you have a toddler, because you feel like you don't have a lot of time to cook to begin with. I know personally I make a lot of the same meals over and over because I know the routine of them, I know how they work and exactly how to do it with my toddler at the same time. I get very into my routines, but the last few weeks and even kind of months, I have tried to carve out extra time to prepare some meals to put in the freezer. It's not that my husband won't be able to cook. In fact, the last time I had a baby, he did such an amazing job of preparing meals all day. But I want to at least help him out, and it would give us a little more time together if he didn't have to prepare dinner and whatnot at least the first couple of days. There's no way I'm going to be able to prepare a month's worth of food right now, but just having some food ready to go in the freezer will just free him up and allow him to either enjoy more time with our daughter or enjoy more time with me and the baby. Welcome to our garage. I'm going to show you my freezer full of pregnancy prepared and postpartum approved meals that I'm going to have for my family ready to go, so after our baby is born we can just reach into the freezer, throw these on the stove or in the oven, and we'll be nice and full and satisfied. Hi everyone, Alexa here from the blog, theduvalhomestead.com, and today I'm going to show you my postpartum newborn freezer meals. These are all meals that you can prepare ahead of time, whether you are having a baby or not. That's just my circumstance at the moment. We are expecting our baby within the next couple of weeks. I'm currently 37, I think, and a half weeks at the time of filming this video. And I've been working on these meals for 1 or 2 months now. Actually, it's been a while. I didn't just prepare all these in one day or anything. I just used small pockets of free time to slowly gather the ingredients and prepare these meals. Now, when we're filming this video, if you're watching it live, you know this, but it is a transition from summer to fall, and when we are going to have our baby, it will basically be right at the start of fall time, mid-September. So I wanted to make most of these very fall friendly, even though I was preparing them in the summertime. So it felt a little weird because some of these ingredients I didn't really have on hand, like pumpkin, but I figured it out and I can't wait to show you some of these recipes. So I'm starting my meal prep like I do most meals, is by feeding my sourdough starter. Once I feed my sourdough starter in the morning, it's ready to go to make just about anything in the afternoon. So what you're seeing here is the afternoon of me using my fed sourdough starter to make 2 recipes. So I'm going to be making bread, and then I'm going to be making sourdough bagels. So you probably won't see the bread in this post because I've already shown it quite a few times on my YouTube channel, but I am going to show you the bagel process really quick, just in case you have a sourdough starter and you have not yet made sourdough bagels, because they freeze so nicely as long as you bake them, let them sit for about an hour to cool down, and then slice them in half, and then you put them in the freezer, and then you just bring them out and toast them. So it's a great idea to make these. So I'm gonna get that dough started now, and then the next day you'll see me complete the bagels. Okay, today I'm testing out a new recipe for sourdough discard chocolate flaxseed muffins. They are kind of a pregnancy-friendly snack that I was planning on making a long time ago in my pregnancy, but kind of waited until the very end. I was just reading up on the benefits of flaxseed and wanted to up the omegas and everything in my diet. I love making a good muffin recipe, and I made some muffins for my last pregnancy that I just ended up loving, but truth be told, my snack cravings really went down this pregnancy. My first pregnancy, I was snacking a lot. This one, just not as much. So I wasn't quite as motivated to make these because I just wasn't as hungry. But now that we are nearing the end of the pregnancy, I would love to have these on hand. I can pop some in the freezer, and they're just good to pull out. They're gonna be delicious. Chocolate chips, and then they have einkorn flour, sourdough discard, and flaxseed in them. So there's some health benefit in there, and they're also just a great, nice, healthy snack. This recipe will be on the blog, theduvalhomestead.com, so I'll leave a link to that below when it's published. I don't know if it'll be published when this video comes out, but if not, I'll leave the ingredients below as well. So in a bowl, I'm going to combine a cup of sourdough discard. So that just means that your discard does not have to have been fed recently, and if you have extra or you just pull out of the fridge, you can go ahead and just use that up. I'm going to combine all this in a mixing bowl because I'm going to use my stand-up mixer. I'm a big fan of recipes that just require dumping all the ingredients in one bowl and then mixing it instead of a bunch of different steps. Even that, though, that might make a better recipe. And 2 eggs, freshly laid this morning, half a cup maple syrup, I am gonna do my wet ingredients first and then the dry ingredients. I find that does work better. Half a cup white sugar. I try to clean up as I go here. This is kind of an ingredient heavy recipe. Whenever I'm cooking, I like to clean up as I'm going. 2 teaspoons vanilla, 3/4 cup yogurt. I love the sour flavor that yogurt gives to muffins. We're gonna see how fast I can make these because my daughter's napping and I have to go to the farmer's market soon to pick up our CSA pickup. 1/4 cup milk. Another tip I have for making cooking easy and less cleanup is to just use a 1 cup measurement. Only 1 cup. So I'm not getting out the half cup or the 1/4 cup because I can tell based on the 1 cup where the half line is, and then half of that would be a 1/4. You know what I'm saying? So I just use 1 cup to make the whole recipe. And a 1/4 cup. I think it's warm enough in my house that the coconut oil does not need to be heated on the stove, which is always a problem in the wintertime because the coconut oil is so hard that I can't even put it in a recipe unless it's heated. Let's do some cleanup here. So I'm going to combine all my wet ingredients, then we'll add the dry ones. Okay, to that I'm going to add 1 1/4 cup einkorn flour. If you are unfamiliar with einkorn flour, it is a non-hybridized ancient grain, which means that the processing behind it and the growing for the crop is different. It's not genetically modified at all. It's in its truest form, never hybridized. So it's easier to digest than regular grain, and it's very good for you. It's also got a higher protein content, which I really like. It sustains you longer throughout the day. I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of ground flaxseed, half a cup of cocoa powder. This is my first time using cocoa powder since like last fall, I think, or last winter. So it's kind of exciting to open this up. This is my pregnancy tea that I drink every day. And lastly, 1 teaspoon baking soda. Okay, I'm gonna combine this in my mixer. And I preheat the oven to 350 degrees already. Oh, I almost forgot the chocolate chips. Nice chocolatey mixture here. And I'm just gonna dollop this into my muffin tins. Oh, we got a cat now. Excuse me, Renee. Let's get you some food. These muffins are so delicious. My husband could barely keep his hands off of them for me to take a picture. They are moist and just perfect. So I cannot wait to get the recipe on the blog. I love when things work out the first time I try them. They are a lot more decadent than I expected. So very good. Could be used as a dessert or just a very yummy snack. I took these muffins out of the oven and added my fresh sunflowers to the kitchen, and I'm just really loving the late summer, early fall feel that these muffins and the sunflowers add to my home. So this morning I'm getting up early to get these bagels made because I want to get them done. Usually when I make bagels, I cook them for lunch that day, so I do this whole process after breakfast, but because we're not actually eating these for lunch today, which is going to be very difficult considering when we take them out of the oven, they're going to be smelling and looking so good. But I had to get up early to make these because I do want to freeze them. They're just so delicious, and I can definitely buy bagels from the store or have my husband buy them or whatever if we, have our baby and we need food. There are lots of good bagel options out there, but these are just so good that I personally would just really enjoy having these in the freezer. So it's nice because when you use sourdough and you let this ferment overnight, you're getting the benefits of that fermented grain, which you don't get when you buy the store-bought bagels. So it is a lot healthier, and I love making my own toppings for these, like cheese and the seasoning. Once you start making homemade bagels, it's really hard to go back to store-bought. So I'm going to take my dough out of the fridge and roll it up, cut it into 8 pieces, and then let it sit for about an hour on my stove while I cook breakfast, let it ferment and rise. And then I'm gonna boil water with some sugar in it. I have the full recipe for this on the duvalhomestead.com. Just search sourdough bagels. It's a very easy process. It might look difficult or complicated here if you've never done it before, but once you do it a couple times, you get used to this process, and it's very simple and goes, flows very well once you're used to the timing of it. Basically, the process for these is you just boil them about a minute each side, and then return them to the baking dish and sprinkle your toppings over, and then bake them at 425 for 20 minutes. After baking, you want to let them sit for 10 or so minutes before cutting them open. They're going to be very hot. That is, of course, if you can wait that long, because they are so good when they first come out of the oven. Okay, this next meal is a pumpkin chili with ground lamb. So this is a very fall-friendly meal. It's comforting, cozy, and also loaded with nutrition. It's made with bone broth, ground lamb, onion, garlic, herbs, spices, pumpkin. It is delicious. Luckily, I found a can of pumpkin to make this with. I had a hard time getting all the ingredients together because it's a very, like I said, fall, winter type of ingredient kind of chili, which we have not been making all summer long. But I know that we will be craving this kind of food in about a month, so I'm gonna go ahead and make it and freeze it for after the baby comes. So you'll need pumpkin, carrots, beans, ground lamb, or of course you could use beef or whatever other meat you'd like. I'm gonna start by browning the lamb in the cast iron. I also put a garlic and an onion in the oven to roast. I just chopped off the top of the garlic and cut the onion in half. I'm gonna get these really roasted for a nice roasted flavor. Then I'm gonna add the garlic, the onion, the bone broth, and pumpkin into the pot and use an immersion blender to blend them up. So this is a really key step, and why I love this recipe is it might be a little bit more work than your typical just soup, but the blending of the garlic and the onion with the pumpkin and the bone broth creates such a nice, thick, creamy chili base. It's quite unique and very, very good. Then you just add your lamb, carrots, beans. Today I'm using thyme and sage because actually this recipe calls for parsley, but I didn't have any available. Salt, pepper, ginger, and cumin. Let this simmer and serve right away, or freeze and then reheat it for later. As I am now editing this video, I realized I had prepared 2 other meals ahead of time and put them in my freezer. I made an einkorn sourdough pie crust with an apple pie filling and a chicken tortilla soup. So you can see those in previous videos if you go to my YouTube channel and look at some of the ones posted just a few weeks ago. Those will be in there. So this is done now. So these are bags of frozen fruit, and you can ignore these. I didn't prepare these. These are from Costco. First thing we have in here is the sourdough bagels. These are the sourdough discard einkorn chocolate muffins. These are so good with flaxseed. These are some frozen burger patties. Also, I did not prepare those. In the pot here, we have the pumpkin chili, and in this pot, we have the chicken tortilla soup. Oh, and almost forgot the apple pie ready to go in the oven. So we've got 2 main dishes, 2 sides or small dishes, and a dessert. So we are ready to go. Thank you so much for cooking with me, especially while I am pregnant, and looking forward to welcoming our newborn soon. Thank you so much for stopping by the Duval Homestead.